Matt, what are you hearing about what Amazon is telling employees and what the employees are saying in response?
So the employee group came out this morning with a press statement saying that they had received, some of their members had, two of them actually, emails from Amazon, legal and HR, just sort of reminding them of the company's policies about speaking to the media. This climate activist group within the company has been largely conducting their campaign to organize inside the company, but they've also been using kind of the media as a way to get their message out and kind of put pressure on the company to take firmer climate change stances, and the company seems to be sort of fighting back and suggesting that they need to go through official channels to get approval to talk to folks like us.
And Matt, this is arguably not even an Amazon story. You talk about the tension between management and employees, frankly, all over big tech. But specifically at Amazon, how did this start?
So Amazon doesn't have a reputation for employee activism, kind of the way that some of the companies in Silicon Valley do. It's more of a buttoned up, put your head down and work sort of place. But late 2018, a bunch of employees got together, sort of around, just looking around at the climate change headlines and how they were impacting Amazon's business. That summer had huge wildfires in Washington State, where Amazon is based. And they decided to take action and push the company to commit to doing more publicly to fight climate change. And since then, the company has actually taken many of the steps they would have recommended at that time.
And Matt, I want to get a little bit more of Amazon's response, talking about how their external communications policy is not new. What else are they telling you about this sort of updated communications policy?
They're basically reiterating that they don't think that their communications, or their prohibition rather, on employees going outside the house and sort of talking with their own voice on behalf of the company is new. They say a lot of tech companies do that, and that's certainly the case. Tech is pretty buttoned up when it comes to encouraging employees to kind of stay silent or at least ask for approval before going outside the house and talking about topics like this. But the employees seem to think that there is something new and different here, that Amazon is applying a policy that, while it may have existed, didn't apply to them in the months and months beforehand as they were organizing this effort.
You know, Matt, we often hear about former Googlers, for example, former any big techer going and filing complaints with the National Labor Board, for example, or filing lawsuits. Is this a stretch too far to think there could be any legal ramifications here?
We haven't heard any rumblings of that so far as it pertains to Amazon. And I think there's kind of a fine line, at least in my understanding of the protected employee speech, relating to their working conditions versus sort of going out and claiming to speak on behalf of the company, which is, I think, what Amazon is claiming has occurred here and trying to clamp down on, at least in their ranks.
What is Amazon doing, though, Matt, specifically to fight climate change? Often I get back, I order a package and I get 10 different boxes instead of folding them all into one box to save some of the cardboard, for example. What are some of the initiatives that they have made?
So one of the earliest programs, just like you mentioned, the cardboard stack that everybody seems to have this time of year, Amazon's working to cut the amount of packaging and products they ship. And this September, Jeff Bezos announced, their CEO, a plan to be carbon neutral by 2040 and to meet the goals of the Paris Climate Accords 10 years ahead of schedule in 2030. So they're now finally making some of the aggressive commitments that some other large tech and logistic companies had adhered to climate change. And some outside observers would say in response, in part, to their employees organizing.